Hey, it's the Sophia Chang Show. There were so many Chinese family get-togethers that I would go to when I was growing up in New York, and there was always going to be one room for the adults with the, normal-sized adult table, and then there's always like the kids' table, which is usually some rickety folding plastic contraption that could collapse on you at any moment. And I inevitably always wandered away after getting stuck in the children's table, and I would just move into the adults' room and I would just start listening to their conversations and possibly participating. And, I always skewed older my entire life. Part of it was that, I didn't have any siblings, and also, I was kind of a latchkey kid, so I really wasn't allowed to have friends over or go to friends' houses without, supervision. So I actually ended up speaking with adults mostly. So I'm used to speaking to 30 and 40-year-olds when I'm in my single digits. And so I did not understand children. I was precocious to begin with. And I just found people whose prefrontal cortexes were underdeveloped just inanely stupid. Just impossible to reason with, to speak with, much less reason with. So I was always more comfortable speaking about politics, about religion, about, life circumstances and hardships, finances. Again, raised on the East Coast, especially in the Northeast, this is the kind of stuff that we talk about. Out West, apparently it's not okay to speak about certain things at the dinner table, but out East, that's all. What else? What the hell else do you talk about over dinner? Like how the weather is? Okay, waste your life. So, I was used to talking not about like Pokemon bullshit and things that have no relevance, but things that really matter to the heart. So things that are, and I know a lot of you are going to be like, but Pokemon has a lot of relevance, in which case you probably need to click off of this right now, because this podcast is really not for you. It's going to make you very upset about yourself. But, one of the things that I notice, is that, you skew up or you skew down. I think it's really, for some reason, I've never really found people who are exactly my age, which is on the cusp between millennial and Gen X. And for me, I always went up. So even though I was raised very millennial, and which is unfortunate, read spoiled, read overly entitled, all that bullshit, right? I appreciate Gen X more, and I like their aesthetic, I like their values, and I like their friendships. So here's what I've learned is incredibly admirable about Gen Xers, is that they don't need to be special to do their goddamn job. If I could encapsulate the absolute worst thing about millennials, is that they need to be different and unique and special, and they need all this massaging just to do their goddamn job. So my roommate, he works at a company that I used to work at, and he was telling me about how there's this one coworker who does something absolutely hilarious. There's a whole crop of 20-somethings, coming into the company with their entitled ways. And so what he does is, this coworker, who I think is in his early 40s, will make little awards. Because that's what millennials love. He'll make little awards that say things like, "You showed up at work today. Good job." Just to drive home the point that millennials can't seem to even get up in the morning without somebody stroking their teeny tiny self-esteems into their inflated egos and saying, "Oh my gosh, you're alive. You need a medal for that." It's like, the rest of us, we don't get jack for doing what we do. And especially the Gen Xers, they are the hardest working people on earth. They don't have that old boy Trumpism that the baby boomers have, where they're just like, wow, I did the work, so I'm going to go to the golf course and you colored people be my caddies. They don't have that old boy paternalism. Some of them do. I mean, some of the men are still a little bit more old school, which I can deal with because I grew up with that. I'm not one of those millennials who are just like, oh my God, I need to bitch and complain about something. I need to have a passion and a movement. Do you like the voice I put on? Like, I can't even describe a millennial without utterly going into that voice, because they drive me batty. They just literally drive me batshit insane with how much approval they require. And this is something that a nurse at the hospital I was just in taught me. She shed so much light on how millennials operate and how you can use this information to use it for your benefit if you want. I could care less. She said they really, really need approval. And that is just it's so awful. I mean, it is literally bringing society down. It's driving us down. So anyway, that's what I love about Gen Xers. This is what everyone can learn about them. Do your goddamn job. Shut up. Put your head down. Do the damn work. And don't expect somebody to praise you for doing what was your responsibility to begin with. Alrighty. Well, now that all the millennials have left my podcast, no, you know what? I don't even have any millennial friends anyway. Because you know why? Because I can't read text. And so they have to actually pick up the phone and call, and they can't. They would rather just not be friends with me. And I am very happy with that myself. This is the Sophia Chang Show. Follow this podcast by favoriting. You can leave me a message if you've got a question, and I'll stick you on the show. Thanks for listening. Thanks so much for listening to the Sophia Chang Show. If you liked what you heard, subscribe, rate 5 stars, and better yet, write a review about what you liked. And feel free to submit any questions that you have that you want answered on air. I really appreciate you listening.